Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty. Yes, right before you is none other than Prince Harry. And as you all know right now, Prince Harry has caused a stir. He has caused a stir because his memoir, The Spare, is to come out next week. However, The Spare in certain countries in Europe, such as Spain, is actually out right now. And people have got a glimpse of it. And it does not look very good for Harry nor Meghan, because people are stating that there are certain things that should be left unsaid. There are certain things that should not be talked about. There's certain things that should be never uttered, such as this.
Killed British soldiers or former soldiers. They know that the British Army killed many more than 25, but it brings it into kind of sharp focus, and particularly his comments about how they don't regard their enemy fighters as being human beings even. So I think this will incite some people to maybe attempt an attack against British soldiers anywhere in the world, or former British soldiers. I like I said, I wouldn't overplay that aspect, but I think the impact on his own personal security is greater, but I don't think we can ignore that.
So during Harry's war in Afghanistan, he admitted and kind of had no feelings about it, to killing 25 Taliban soldiers. And he referred to them as like dominoes. And that's a big problem with that. Because number one, within the military, there is a code of honor. And in that unwritten and unspoken code of honor, you never mentioned anyone or the soldiers who you murked. That is something that you should take to your grave. Harry, for some reason, had such loose lips. And we know that loose lips sink ships. And the problem with this here is that he has committed, I believed, an act of treason. And he has violated military ethics. And what he has done is that he has put his whole country at risk now for retaliation. And closer to home, he has put his family at risk for retaliation. Because we know that there are certain groups of people who have no problem self-deleting themselves along with the person who they also want to delete. That's not a problem for them because of their beliefs. And you would really have to wonder, why would this man talk about things like that in the book? You're putting your country at risk. It's almost like betraying the military. You did betray your country. And now this risk extends to your wife, your children, even Meghan's mother. Because with certain groups, they are more likely to seek some type of a revenge. So that was not a good idea. When I heard about this book, my gut feeling was that it is not a good idea to even write such a book. He tried to shelve it, but he got the advance, and the publishers knew that it could be a big seller. It could make them a lot of money. And no one forced Harry to do that book. They did it for the money grab. I heard he got 20 million. Should have gone about getting money in other ways, which they could have. So the problem with this whole thing now is that the coronation coming up, and people are wondering, will he and Meghan be invited? It's probably a good idea for King Charles not to invite them, considering the potential risk. And it's probably a good idea for King Charles to really take away any royal titles in which they have. The reason being is, if they're no longer part of the royal family, maybe the Taliban or their supporters will not seek retribution or revenge towards the royal family. I just think that you have to look at all the risk involved and how can you mitigate such risk. And one of the ways in which I see it would be is to strip them of their royal titles. You don't really want them to be associated with the royal family because of Harry's big mouth. And there's some other things that came up too with Harry. Why in the hell would you want to talk about you and your brother's penis? Why would you want to admit that both of you are circumcised? What is the point of even bringing your brother into that? I can understand if you want to talk about your Willie, but you're talking about your brother too? That's very strange to me and just odd and cringeworthy. And this is a man who says that he went to protect his family and take care of them. Well, now you got your hands full because they're going to need the uttermost protection now for years to come because the Taliban is not going to forget you stating that you murked 25 of their soldiers. And something else that came out in this memoir. Harry states that he was a bigot when he met Meghan. Or rather, he says before he met Meghan. But people before, during, now, seriously, you're not going to just change your behavior because you met someone who happens to be biracial, who has a black mother. You have shown bigoted behavior.
Kate and what Camilla went through, very different circumstances. But then you add in the race element, which was what the British press jumped on straight away. I went into this incredibly naive. I had no idea the British press was so bigoted. Hell, I was probably bigoted before the relationship with Meghan.
You think you were bigoted before the relationship with Meghan?
I don't know. Put it this way, I didn't see what I now see.
When someone states that I think I could have been, I'm not sure, believe me, they are. They were unaware of it. That means they are. And doesn't surprise me at all because I did a video about this before, about the Nazi uniform thing. So pretty much it just confirmed what a lot of people already knew, that Harry indeed was a bigot. And a lot of times with these bigoted people, when they meet someone who is not like they are, who is of a different ethnicity, different race, such as Meghan, she's biracial, they can kind of try to convince themselves that they are not. In some inner parts of them, they can get a guilt feeling. It can really bother them. So they want to convey or prove to themselves that they're no longer racist. They're not bigoted. They're not prejudiced. They don't dislike certain people. Black people, biracial people. But, you know, to racist people, I've always stated this. A biracial person is going to be considered black in their eyes. And as we see, the UK is treating Meghan Markle like a black woman. Now, is she black? No, I'm not saying that. I kind of allow people to decide for themselves how they choose to self-identify. But to a racist mindset, it's a far-gone conclusion. She's a black woman. So people may wonder, did Meghan know about this? Was she aware of this? My answer to that would be, indeed she was. Because she's the type of a person who looks into someone's background. Then people may ask, then why would she choose to get into a union with a man who's racist? Why would she choose to marry into a racist institution? Take a listen to this and you'll get a better understanding as to why.
Listen, I'm going to say up front, anyone who is coming here to say in the comments it's the only reason I don't like her because she's black, she's not. She's mixed. And in fact, I've seen her driver's license. I say this every video because it bears repeating. I've seen it because she was a source at Us Weekly. And that was the same company that owns Star, which I used to work for. And you know what it says on her license? White. She is black when it is convenient. It is a card for her to play. And if you are actually black, and if you have actually grown up with systemic racism and people thinking less of you, and this dumb bitch comes along and hijacks that experience, you should be the angry.
See, Meghan Markle does not identify as black or biracial. She's saying biracial right now, and in some instances she's claiming black now. But before all this, she was identifying as a white woman. You heard what Shallon said, who worked with her. On her driver's license, it said white. Even on her passport, it says white. On governmental IDs, she has white. Meghan Markle was identifying as a white woman. So how she tolerates this is that she kind of distanced herself from the black community. She cut ties with the black community. So she did not feel a kinship with the black community. She never identified as a black woman. So that is how she was able to marry into a racist royal family and marry a very racist man. Because she sees herself as being white. There's kind of a, what is the word I'm looking for? Just kind of like a gulf or a valley. There's no connection towards black people. So by her identifying herself as being white, she sees that it's not against her. It's against them. It's against other people. And not only that, let's not leave out the fact that she's a social climber. She's one of these people who are an opportunist. So therefore, there's certain things that are much more important to her than someone's belief and how they treat and look at other people. So that's the type of person that Meghan Markle is. She's for status. She's for money. Other things that could affect other people. She's not into that. She doesn't concern herself with that. She's not going to be concerned about those people. This is the reason why she can marry into a racist family with a very racist lineage. Because she sees herself as one of them. Until she was thrown the book, the black book. And they did not see her as one of them. They've seen Meghan Markle as an other. So that's called your black wake-up call. That's how she was able to do that. But Harry has put himself into a whole heap of trouble. He has gotten his family into a lot of trouble. When I say family, yes, across the pond, but I do believe that they're probably going to disassociate themselves with him because they really have no choice. I don't believe that Charles is going to give the children a title. And I think that for this treasonous act, he would be wise to take the title away from Harry and Meghan. Since they want to be on their own, they want to do their own thing, they want to be independent, then allow them to be independent. Be independent from the royal family. This is what you want. This is the life you chose. And with that, Charles should say, were you for Harry, Meghan, the two children? Have a great life. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is another edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty. And I will see you all beyond and through.